you very much for joining me once again to another episode of Getting to Know the Detectorist. And today's guest is none other than Hans from TerraGermania. Am I pronouncing that correctly, Hans?
Germania.
Germania,
It's
not. I'm trying to be funny now. Once again, thank you very much for joining me. I really appreciate your time, man.
not at all.
Perfect. Now, Hans, where did this whole hobby, this metal detecting thing start for you? What made you decide to grab a machine and start digging in the ground?
Yeah, I grew up in the countryside, and we were living next to a big castle. And the American troops or soldiers, they had a maneuver there, and they moved into the castle, and yeah, lots of trucks and everything. And we, as child, we were astonished and glad to see all this. It was exciting. And one day, one GI took out his metal detector in the park, and
Ah,
I saw what he draws out of the ground, and it just fascinated me, And I was like 5, 6 years old, something like that. And I kept this in my mind, and a metal detector was something I knew from this day on, And yeah, my first metal detector I bought from a neighbor. It was a very cheap machine, simple, with only two control knobs, all metal mode. You couldn't do anything. You had to dig everything,
ah,
Uh, but it was a good yeah, lesson for me, because I learned everything about the hobby back then. And the most important thing I learned to be like a patient,
ah, of
Yeah.
course. Yes, I understand. That's one of the big things about metal detecting. The majority of people think you pick up a machine, you swing it around, and just gold and silver will pop out of the ground. Ah,
Oh,
you've got plenty of rubbish that you need to dig before you get to the good stuff.
yeah, tell me
Hans,
about.
all the time that you so actually you're not a beginner, you've actually witnessed this and been involved in metal detecting for quite a while. um,
Yeah,
after all
yeah.
this time,
I,
what
pardon?
after all this time, what was your favorite find so far? Do you have a favorite?
Oh, it's a hard question because uh, I mean, it's hard to tell.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, okay, the greatest find is maybe the field I'm detecting at the moment. Okay, it's not a single find,
Hmm.
but the find is the Alemannic settlement, that
Ah,
I
yes,
actually
yes.
found a settlement, that's, I think, the greatest find, because it's not one object that defines or that is like my favorite. It's the whole thing,
Mm.
every find I find there, and the whole history around it. So I have to say it's a Alemannic settlement, it's my greatest find. Mm.
I think you refer to this field in your videos as the dream field.
Yeah, it is a dream field, and I found out that it's not only a settlement. They used this field in the past centuries as a trash dump, So all the trash you have in your household, they uh, take it out to the fields,
Hmm.
because back then they hadn't plastic or something like that. They had only organic trash and waste,
Ah, yes, yes.
and together with these household trash, yeah, they probably dumped like coins and jewelry and stuff, other stuff, uh, they didn't do it on purpose, of course, but you know how it happens, it's
Yes.
just
Mm.
the way it goes. And that's why I keep finding so much stuff there. It's amazing.
I would, I've seen you dig so many hammered silver coins that I think if I find one that I would pass out I would start crying or something like that. It's amazing. I love seeing you finding those coins and just the way that you capture the footage. Now, Hans, I've been watching your videos for quite a while, and one thing that I've noticed about the way that you capture the footage is the steady camera work. Could you tell us a little bit about your setup? How do you go about recording your finds and recording your hunt?
Yeah, I'm using a camcorder mounted on a tripod,
Ah,
and
okay.
I can show you the camera. It's a Panasonic, and it's called HXWA30.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay, so it's
and
got a display. Yeah, right.
yeah, it got a display, and the great thing about it, it's shock proof, it's dust proof, it's waterproof. You can hold it underwater. It's up to 5 feet, no, 33 feet waterproof and everything. So I don't mind if it's raining, because it's a very good camera. And as I said, I mounted on a tripod.
Hmm.
And when I got my find, I just moved behind the camera, and then I can show you everything because the
Right.
camera is right before me.
And then you
So
you watch the footage through the display as
yes,
to make sure
yeah,
everything is
no,
in focus.
I don't use the display. I look to my hands. I'm watching the real object, if you want to say it like that, and that's why I can't define like writing every time, because I can do it through the display because of sun or something like that.
Right,
It
right. I understand what you're
sometimes it
saying.
blinds me and I can see it through the display. But it's funny because sometimes I'm watching my videos, and it's everything is perfectly readable because of the zoom, or the
Yeah.
focus. But I can't read it because it's in my hand. Yeah? And I think people are thinking, huh, why can't he read it? Because it's so obvious. But
Uh,
I do it because it's in my hands, and I
yeah.
watch
Now,
directly
one
on.
thing I've seen a couple of people mention that. Say that you pick up a coin ball and you're
Hmm.
starting to clean this coin ball, and you take a piece of dirt and you just chuck it back into the hole, and it falls straight into the hole. Why didn't you become a golfer or something, man?
Maybe it has to do with the fact that I'm playing basketball. I don't know.
Ah, of course, of
I don't
course. No,
know.
man. People have been noticing that you don't miss a hole when you uh, throw that piece of dirt. It always lands back in the hole. Now,
Yeah.
Hans, since we know that you're using a Panasonic and a tripod, tell us more about your hunting equipment. What machine have you got? I can't remember seeing you using a pinpointer. I don't think you do. You use a pinpointer?
No, I haven't got a pinpointer. The first question you asked, I'm using a Gold Max Power
Right.
XP, and yeah, it's a great machine. I saved some money to buy a new machine, but the money is still on the bank, because I won't do it, because I got so used to the
Ah,
machine and the
yes.
signals and everything that it's just nonsense to buy a new one, because the performance is amazing, and sometimes I knew exactly what's in the ground just because of the signal, and
Mm,
that is something. Um, yeah, that's something I want to tell to beginners as well,
mm.
because the most expensive machine can be crap if you don't know about it and you don't know the signals. A cheaper model can be, yeah, pay dividends because you just understand it,
I
And
know exactly what you mean. Yeah.
yeah, that's because I mean the depth. Everybody is seeking for depth, and yeah, I mean debt is something that's dependent on so many things, the mineralization
Mm,
and
mm.
trash and everything. So yeah, it's an illusion to have a machine that can, yeah, grab deep depths on every soil. It's just a legend, it's not true.
Now, I've seen you use a big coil. Does that make a difference in your depth?
Yes, it does. Yeah, it's not a it's not a very huge yeah difference, but
Right,
I
right,
can
okay.
tell it. Yeah, and in one video I mentioned that I bought this coil because of ground coverage because
Ah,
this is
yes, yes, I
very
remember.
practical if you have a huge area to detect like pasture and you have this big coil, you have a lot of ground coverage,
Hmm.
but also the depth increase is remarkable. Yeah.
Hans, the majority of your videos actually answers this question, but just for in case, what type of metal detectorist are you? Are you a coin shooter? Do you go for relics? Do you go for specific items, a gold prospector? What type of detectorist are you?
I'm going for everything, you know, from contemporary to history. You know, it's just lovely what you can find and what stories are attached to the finds, you know. For example, once I detected a pasture area with a nice view where obviously a lot of people go to have their rendezvous and everything.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
I, I started to find, you know, the wire on champagne bottles, you
Yes,
know.
okay.
This I found, and then I found these IKEA aluminium parts of the candles, you know, the tea light
Oh, yes,
candles.
yes.
Okay, so obviously, and then the next thing I found was condom
Ah,
package, aluminium. So it was totally clear what happened there, you know. It was a whole, you know, and this is something about metal detecting I love because it tells you stories, you know,
mm.
and it's so yeah, peculiar sometimes what you can find, and it makes you laugh and it makes you think, and it's so exciting, you know.
Yeah, I
And of course,
agree. I agree. It's the same with me on my side. The stuff that you find actually tells you what happened there and when it happened. It gives you a good idea. So it helps you to detect not only items but the history that took place there. And that's what really excites me. Um,
yeah.
like you recently found a brass horse head. Just give us a
Mhm.
little bit of background story on that find for the people that hasn't watched that video.
Yeah, I was detecting an area um, around an old abbey, and I knew from this abbey that it was destroyed in the Napoleonic Wars, you
Hmm.
know.
Hmm.
And I was detecting there, and I found this horse head. And the first thing I thought was ancient because the appearance, it got the right patina and the right design, you know. So I was like, I have to send my archaeologist some pictures of it because this might be something very, very good, you know.
Yeah.
So I sent him some pictures and he replied quite fast and told me that they found few of these horse heads in the past, you know, the archaeologists,
Yeah.
and they thought the exact thing about these horse heads like I did, you know, they thought they might be Celtic or Roman because they were looking so ancient.
Yeah.
But then they found out that these horse heads are actually from Napoleon's cavalry, you know,
Wow.
the saddle horn where you grab to or hold on to. And yeah, it was so fascinating because I thought it's ancient. The archaeologists thought that too, and then it turned out that it's Napoleonic. You know, the style is called empire, and it's just a reproduction of ancient designs. You know, so
Oh.
that's how they could mix it up. You know,
Oh, that was a fantastic find.
yeah.
I really enjoyed that video. Actually, there was one video that you explained to me how to use the hand warmer. I
Yeah.
really enjoyed that video. Now, if you could give advice to guys looking to start the metal detecting hobby, what would you tell them? What would you advise them?
Um, yeah, what would I advise them? I mean, the most difficult thing is the detector, I think. I knew, um, I remember how I struggled to find the right machine, you know, the right metal detector, because there's such a huge variety of models on the market. Uh, it confuses you. Even an experienced metal detectorist, if I wanted to buy a new machine, I would be lost because of the variety. So I
Mm,
would
mm.
recommend to go for relatively cheap detector from a brand.
A recognized manufacturer, yeah, yeah.
And an easy to understand model as well. For example, the machine I started with, I told you about it earlier,
Hmm.
it only got two control knobs, and you couldn't do anything wrong with it, you know.
Yeah,
And that's the best thing, because then you will find out, you can concentrate on the hobby, and you will find out if you are made for this hobby or not, because it needs a lot of patience. And
yeah.
if you buy an expensive machine, you know, it probably leads to yeah, the situation where you don't understand the machine, and you haven't got success, you know,
Mm.
because you might have put the settings wrong so that the machine won't work, you know. It's very frustrating. So a switch on and go machine is first choice, I would say, as a beginner.
No, I
Mhm.
agree with you there. A switch on and go machine is the perfect thing that forces you to deck all the targets, get to know what it sounds like, get to know how deep it will be. And before they know it, if they stick to it, they will start to identify the target even before touching the soil.
That's
Um,
right.
one more thing that you mentioned, which I totally agree with, you need, if you've got the facility to rent a machine, I would advise people to rent first to
Hmm.
see whether the hobby is for you, because
Yeah.
patience is the biggest key to metal detecting. It's not going to jump out of the ground as soon as you put the on switch, switch on the on switch.
Yeah.
You need patience. You need to understand the soil, the target, the metal type, the conductivity, the signals, all that stuff. Now, Hans, when you look at other people's YouTube videos,
Mhm.
what would you like to see? What do you enjoy watching?
Yeah, I mean, what I like about the YouTube channels is the variety of styles, you know. You got people detecting the beaches. You got people from different countries, exotic countries, you know, and it's always interesting to see what they find there. And so I'm quite happy, you know. I I personally, and I think you can see it in my videos. I like to see scenery as well, because
Mm,
it
mm.
gives me a certain mood, you know, a certain mood of excitement. I want to see the area, and I want to imagine what might have going on there.
Ah,
And
yes, yes.
that for example, I very much like the French metal detecting videos. There's a guy called Passion Detection, and he makes fantastic videos and fantastic finds. Uh, when I watch his videos, I always, yeah, I just shake my head all the time, because he finds so amazing stuff, silver coins, and it's amazing.
Mm,
And
mm.
the French guys, they show a lot of scenery as well, and that's, yeah, something I like very much. Yeah. And of course, the British colleagues, they got a great history and a great country to detect as well. It's always interesting to see what they find. So I'm totally happy.
Mm.
I can choose whatever I want to see.
No, I agree with you. Especially, the English, they've got their battlefields, their Roman fields. Same with the European countries, Russia, Germany, Sweden, all those places. They've got ancient history and stuff to be
Mhm.
found. There's one more thing that I want to ask you, Mr. Hans, Herr Hans. How do you pronounce your YouTube channel name?
It's Terra Germania, and it's Latin. Germania is, yeah, the Romans, they said Germania to Germany, they called it Germania, and terra means earth, or yeah, soil, earth, ground, land. That's why I chose this name, Terra Germania.
Well, I've heard people saying TerraGermania,
Yeah.
TerraGermania. So
Mm.
I hope it doesn't bother you because
No,
quite a
not at all.
it's unorthodox name, quite unique. So
No,
Terra,
no,
I'm gonna try to pronounce it now. Terra Germania. Germania, sorry, Terra Germania. Right,
very
let's
good.
stick to. Thanks for your patience, man. Hans, thank you very much for joining me. I really appreciate you taking time out of your personal life to talk to me. Guys, please visit Hans's channel, Terra Germania or Terra Germania, whichever you choose. I'm going to put a link up in the on the screen to his channel. Also, I'll put a link in the description, in the video description down below to his channel. Once again, Hans, thank you very much for joining me.
It was my pleasure. Thank you very much for having me interviewed.
Take
Thank you
care,
very
man.
much.
Bye bye.
You too. Bye bye.